Federal student loan borrowers will begin making payments this month for the first time in 3 years. Over the years, more and more students have had to take out more and more loans in order to be able to afford college.
Yeah, now millions of people owe trillions of dollars. Wink News consumer reporter Andriana Shepard explains how student debt has ballooned into the crisis it is today.
In the early 2000s, Lori Winter packed up her car and drove herself to Tallahassee to start at Florida State University.
And applied for the student loans on my own. I also got some Pell Grants. I was the first person to go to college in my family, so I kind of just went out and did it on my own.
Without the grants and loans, she wouldn't have been able to graduate in 2005 with a degree in fashion merchandising.
But when I graduated, and I went a couple summers too, I had $45,000 in student loans.
Almost 20 years later, she's still paying on those loans. According to personal finance website NerdWallet, Winter is one of about 45 million Americans with student loan debt, totaling more than $1.76 trillion. The average borrower owes more than $37,000.
School just keeps getting more and more expensive.
This is a major issue.
Dr. F. King Alexander is an educational leadership and public policy professor at FGCU. Before coming to Southwest Florida, he was the president of multiple universities, including LSU and Cal State Long Beach. He's also spent decades working with U.S. presidents and their administrations to fund public higher education and lower student debt.
We were very concerned about the student debt issue 20 years ago.
Data from the National Center for Education Statistics found it cost about $1,500 to attend a public four-year college for the 1968 to 69 school year. That number is adjusted for inflation and includes tuition, fees, room, and board. For 2021 to 2022, it costs more than $30,000. If costs stayed in line with inflation, going to a four-year college should only set a student back about $12,000 a year. Dr. Alexander blames the student debt crisis on states slashing their higher education budgets.
The result, when states don't fund their higher education systems, which states in tax effort are down roughly about 49% from where they were in 1980, then tuition goes up and students end up having to cover the cost of higher education from the baby boomer population that has been shifting this burden onto the backs of the younger generation.
He adds the economic consequences are endless.
We're creating a generation of renters and not buyers. They're spending less in the economy. They're buying less cars. They're buying less houses. You prolong the fact that they're not going to buy a house until 10 years longer than their parents did. Many people aren't starting families because of the debt that they have, or they're prolonging the idea of starting a family and getting married.
Good afternoon.
Right now, Dr. Alexander is working with President Joe Biden to make community colleges tuition free.
That will help many of our students that may start in community colleges and go to school for free, relieving them of the first 2 years of debt that they may have to take out.
Until then, he recommends all aspiring college students to look at the college scorecard available on the U.S. Department of Education's website. It breaks down how much students will make once they graduate compared to what the college charges, so you can get the most bang for your buck or student loan. Andriana Shepard, Wink News.
And don't forget to look for scholarships. The National Scholarship Association says about $100 million goes unawarded each year, mostly because people don't apply. Ways to find those scholarships are on winknews.com.